Hello and welcome to Baking on a Budget. Now this time we have another beautiful apple-based dessert. This is Eve's pudding. Beautiful layer of apples done in butter, absolutely delicious, and a beautiful sponge layer on top. Served up with hot custard, absolutely delicious. Now we've got everything that we need to make it over here. I'm going to tell you exactly what we've got quantity wise and how much all of this cost me. To begin with, we have 100 grams of self-raising flour, which cost me 5p. We have 80 grams of sugar at 9p. We've got 100 ml of vegetable oil at 16p. We got 2 eggs at 28p. We got 1 teaspoon of baking powder at 3p. We got 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract at 12p. We got a teaspoon of cinnamon, 4p. We got a teaspoon of nutmeg at 4p. We have 50 grams of unsalted butter at 38p. We got 4 apples at 96p. And we got 1 lemon at 11p. So altogether, this comes to £2.26. We're going to get 6 beautiful servings out of this, each serving being 37p a piece. Right, there's a couple of stages to this, so let's get to it. First thing we'll do is prepare the fruit. So what I'm going to do is just get the juice from this lemon. And now we just want to prepare these apples. What I'm going to do is I'll just top and tail them and then peel them and then cut them into small cubes. So first thing we want to do is just get the skin off these. Okay, and having peeled all of them, next thing I'm going to do is core and slice them. There we go. Now these slices are probably a little bit large for what I want to do with this. So I'm just going to chop them this way and get them into this bowl. Apples chopped. Next thing we want to do is just coat them with this lemon juice. To that I'm going to add a teaspoon of this ground cinnamon and a teaspoon of the nutmeg. I maybe just put a half a teaspoon of nutmeg in. Has it got a very strong taste. If you like nutmeg, put more in. There we are. Now we're just going to make sure that they're all coated with the spices. Very good. And now we can move over to the hob. Alright, and at the hob what we want is the pan on a low heat. And we have 80 grams of unsalted butter, which is going into the pan. And we just want this to melt down. Okay, and with the butter nicely melted, we now just want to add the apples. Beautiful. And we'll coat all of those with that butter. And we're just going to let these simmer over a very low heat for about 5-10 minutes, just until those apples start to soften a little. So I'll cover it and we'll come back to it. Now to make the sponge for this is simplicity itself. What we want to do is get the sugar into a bowl or a jug. I prefer doing this in a jug. It just doesn't splash about as much. But you can use a bowl if you wish. So we've got the sugar and we've got 2 eggs going in there. Now we want to beat this together into a nice creamy consistency. Right, that's just a couple of minutes with that, and that's all looking good. Now to that, we're going to add 100 ml of oil, like that. You could use butter in this recipe if you wanted to, but the oil will just keep the price down and it makes a delicious sponge. Okay, that's all well combined. So into the bowl we have 100 grams of self-raising flour, and we have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. If you don't have self-raising flour, you can use plain flour. Just put 2 teaspoons of the baking powder in. I'll just combine that. And then to that, we're going to add the egg, oil and sugar mix. Stir all of that together, combine it, and make a beautiful cake batter. As I say, it's almost apple season here in the UK. So I thought some apple desserts would be nice. I have indeed put some links in the description below this video to the other apple recipes which I've done in the past. We had that marvellous apple strudel just a couple of weeks ago, and earlier I made an apple pie. Apple pie is a good thing to make this time of year when the apples fall, you know, because they freeze very well and you can make a few of them together and are always beautiful. Also, there's an apple crumble recipe there as well. As I say, all those links are in the video description if you would like to see them, and if you find you have a lot of apples on your hands. Right, that will do for the batter. Now let's go and check the apples. Okay, the apples are looking good, smelling delicious. They could do with a little bit longer in there, I think. Still a little bit tough, but that's okay. We will just leave them for a short while to soften up, and we'll come back when they're soft. Okay, now they've just had a few more minutes and I think they're good to go. So let's prepare them. First thing I'm going to do is just strain them, and I'm going to save the juice which has come from them in this container. And then what we want to do is just get those apples into the base of this tray. Looking good. This tray is 14 centimeters by 24 centimeters, or baking dish rather. And that's just covering the bottom of there nicely, nice thick covering there. Very good. Now with the liquor which has come off them, what I'm going to do is thicken that up a little bit. It's a little bit watery for my liking, so I'm going to stick it back in the pan and get it back on the hob. And I'm just going to add a little corn flour to it, or cornstarch, and I'm going to thicken that up. Now I've thickened up the butter and juices a little bit, and what I'm going to do is just pour them over these apples. That's going to be absolutely beautiful. We'll just mix all that in. That will do it. The oven is up to temperature. This is good. It is set at 180 degrees centigrade, and that will do fine for this. Now what we're going to do is just pour the cake mix or the sponge mix over the top of these apples. We'll just spread that out a little bit. Looking very good. And we'll get that right into the corners there. Right, that's it. Now this is going into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes until this sponge is beautifully browned. We'll test it with a skewer, make sure it's done, and then we will see what this comes out like. And there we are, Eve's pudding. Now that was in the oven for about half an hour. I'll stick the skewer in, that's done to a turn, absolutely beautiful. Going to let this cool down, it will be very hot, especially the apples. And then we're going to take a nice slice out of that, get a little bit of custard on and have a taste. Okay, this has had time to cool, and I've put a little bit of warm custard on there as well. I think that's really going to help it. Looks absolutely beautiful. Look at that sponge cake looks delightful. The apples are nice and soft, smell absolutely beautiful with that cinnamon and the nutmeg in. So we're going to take a taste. That's absolutely beautiful. Try a bit with a sponge and a little bit of apple on there as well. That's a really nice combination. Eve's pudding, very simple to make as you've seen, and a delicious, absolutely delicious pudding or dessert, and very reasonable. This here cost me 37 pence for the ingredients, and 37 pence well spent, I would say. That's delicious. So there it is, Eve's pudding. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, very simple recipes to put together, always very inexpensive and absolutely delicious, then do consider subscribing to the channel. In the meantime, I am going to finish the rest of this pudding, and I thank you very much for watching.